There's one school of thought that says every endeavor takes, as long as we'll give it. So this is why people will tell you never to schedule a meeting for a full hour, because then it will take a full hour when you probably only needed 25 minutes. There are others who are always stressed out because they've underestimated the task, again, and now they're frantically trying to get work done on a deadline that's just far too tight. Finally, if you look at the data from meeting research, you'll see that those lucky meetings where they even have an agenda, very few groups actually make it all the way through that agenda before they run out of time. They're constantly scheduling a follow-up meeting to get the things done that they had to drop. When it comes to meeting length, then, where's Goldilocks? Where do we see meetings that aren't too long and they aren't too short, but they're just right? Well, first, the key to figuring out how long your meeting needs to be is to start by defining, you got it, the meeting purpose and the desired outcomes. That will tell you what type of meeting you need to run and the kind of meeting structure you need to get those results. As I discussed in the lecture on meeting structure, the teams who don't make it through their agendas typically, they have lousy agendas. So that's the problem they need to solve first before they worry about the meeting length. Now, once you know the type of meeting you need, well, here are some common meeting durations. 15 to 20 minutes. That works great for quick team check-ins like the stand-up meetings or lightning action reviews, and for meetings with 2 to 3 people who are discussing a single topic. 15 minutes is a really common meeting length for a first sales call, for example, where the only goal really is to get agreement for a longer call. 30 to 45 minutes. This is a good length for one-on-ones, regular small team meetings, and other fairly simple meetings involving people who already know each other. A strong project manager will keep internal project status meetings to 30 minutes or less. Now, the best use techniques like a stand-up to keep these important, but often boring, status updates even shorter. Standalone ideation sessions can also be, really short. They don't need to be any longer than this. Creativity loves constraints, and short, fast, structured brainstorming works best. This is also a good length for many introductions. These exploratory meetings with people outside your organization, they really may only need about 10 minutes to handle the business talk, but they benefit from more time to build rapport. And having time to make a good first impression really is a critical meeting outcome for those meetings. 60 to 90 minutes. Now, most juicy business meetings fit here, plus or minus a bit. So team meetings, planning meetings, sense-making meetings where you're trying to work with a group to figure things out, problem-solving meetings, broadcasts, 1 to 1.5 hours gives the group time to work through a complex topic together. Now, at 90 minutes, you hit a breaking point. Actually, you hit your first breaking point before that. Now, recent research suggests that the optimal length of focus time is 52 minutes, followed by a 17-minute break. Our brains and our bodies just aren't meant to stay engaged on one thing for much longer than that. But in practice, we see people start to really lose it around that 90-minute mark. Now, personally, I believe that meetings can go up to 90 minutes because we aren't actually spending all of those minutes concentrating on a single thing. In a well-run meeting, you're going to spend, the first 5 minutes starting well, and the conversation will evolve as you move through the agenda. So I don't believe you have to stop at 52 minutes, but 90 minutes really is an outer limit. That's why the next most popular meeting lengths are a half day and full day, or, days. And these include lots of scheduled breaks every 45 to 90 minutes. So these longer lengths work well for the governance meetings, the board meeting, for example, for your workshops and your training sessions. This is also a really good length for deep problem solving and action reviews that are looking back on long projects or any really complex planning and squirrely sense-making sessions you might need to run. Essentially, when the complexity and the importance of the meeting is high, and it's important to tackle the whole job at once rather than in a series of smaller meetings, you'll want to block out at least half a day. 2 reasons. First, you probably need that much time to get the job done. And second, everyone's going to be exhausted and no good for anything else afterwards anyway. Okay, so the kind of meeting you're running is the number one factor in determining how long the meeting needs to be. So what about the time in the meeting? How do you figure that out? Expert facilitators plan out all the time in each meeting, assigning a fixed number of minutes to each topic. They know, for example, that they'll need at least 5 to 10 minutes at the beginning and end of every meeting for those bookends. The worksheet includes an example of what this looks like and includes tips to help you put timing on your agenda. Know that in the beginning, as you work on this, your plan was gonna probably be a little bit wrong, and that's okay. Meetings are really complex. All kinds of things happen that you can't plan perfectly to the minute in advance. But when you have a plan and you work to follow it, you're a whole lot more likely to get close. So while you might not get it exactly right, having a plan means you'll get all the way through your agenda and stay mostly on time. And isn't that a fabulous sight better than the alternative?